Hey guys, I just finished a walk all the way around the island. You know, that's what I do for my exercise. I was actually going to make my deposit for my apartment. And that's a long walk. I could take my bike, but it's a nice walk. It's nice to do stuff like that from time to time. So I've moved on in this book to chapter 4. And it's starting to answer, or this guy Ezra is asking some interesting questions while he's in the state of limbo, while he's inside. He's still trapped in the Medes. It's the valley of the Medes, or this land of the Medes. He's still on the inside. He hasn't made it all the way over to the other side. But before he does all this, he's got all these questions. And generally in the books with the New Testament and other stuff like that, this is the sixth chakra. This is, when you're gathering everyone together, when everyone is being pulled together. And, and that goes with the saying that whenever 2 or 3 are gathered together, I will be in the midst. So, this is the gathering. That's 2 and 3, you put those together, that's 5. So when you get your 5 senses under control, Jesus or God, however you'd like to call him, would be in the midst. And this midst is this inside area, this our chakra system, this electrical vehicle that maneuvers us off the earth and into space, into heaven. And of course, you know that this is about our mind, okay? And that this is where heaven is. This is where the tabernacle for God, this is where everything is supposed to be built. And this is where he would dwell. He only dwells in those people that have reserved this spot for him, okay? And when it comes down to it, this particular 4, it's about worlds. This next one is about worlds. But I discovered something within this, in this particular chapter. Every 4 of those, every scripture in this, and look at how many there are. There's 52 of them, okay? So that brings us down to, we get a full run of 9, and then we get an extra 4, which is going to talk about worlds. And this is all about worlds. Every one of these can be broken down to the 3 different things. Every one of those. That is really interesting. Every one of those. I went in, because what I've been doing lately, I'll go and I'll put all of the ones that are on there, and I'll add or subtract as they go from the bottom part. Well, this one has a whole mess up, and it ends on 52. But those are all worlds. And so I would call out those in myself. So I go and look in here, check it out, and I'll be damned, all those were all worlds. Except that then I put in, I was reading 17, and 17 came to be a world too. I said, how can that be? Because they split 2 different things up where we're saying basically the same thing when they were talking about this. One is about the sea and one is about the land. And so, but they were exactly the same questions, but one ended at the end of this world. And then the next one picked up again over here. So I kept looking, and lo and behold, every part of this is a world. Every one of them, every scripture can be busted down into this situation. Okay, that was a cool thing right off the bat. But what else did we reveal in this world, this thing about the worlds? Now I'm going to minus you down. And we're going to read this because I don't want to go through the whole thing. It's talking about the seed of evil. See, he is still talking about, he says, well, we would say it was given to God, but it's actually, he's talking to an angel. An angel's answering his questions. And he says, well, how is it that you want to know about what's up high? He says, well, people that are down low only know about earthly things, and the people that are on the opposite side, those guys that are righteous, know about higher things. How do you expect the lower people to know about higher things when they don't have any higher things in them? And so anyways, this is this idea. Well, how is it that well, anyway, still the idea is how come that Israel was given into this position of how was it that your men, your people transgress so much that they're on this lower side? And then how is it that this lower side can manipulate and go through life having a great time without any problem? Well, as you go further into the story here on this particular chapter, he's looking at, one of the questions is how is it that, perhaps it's all of this. So he's explained that you have to go through this particular thing first and go to it. So it's brought to our attention that our time on earth is all spent in evil, and there's only a short time and everything is on the pretty side. And he's wanting to know which side is the longer one and which one is the lesser one. And it's done by a way of a fiery furnace blew by him one time. And once the fire was over, what was left was smoke, and the smoke stood still. And then next thing you know, this cloud came by and it dumped copious amounts of rain down on it. And then it disappeared, and then all that was left was drops of water, and they stood still. And so he was answering a question, because this was what there was this parable in here about the sea wanting to claim the land, and the land trying to claim the sea. And that he says, how would you judge who was the worst in these groups? And he said, both of them. He says, well, that's very nice that you think that way. But he says, now put yourself in this. How would you judge this out? So it's just beautifully written that you would find that down here he was given the three different ways. He was showed the fire and the brimstone, the living down in hell, with the heat and stuff like that. And then the nice rain that came down and cleaned all that up. But all that was left when it was done is still and quiet and rest. And it was the person that was watching this. Now put yourself in this. How would you judge this? And so it's just more going over the inner workings of what is going on at this particular time in the story, because he's in this fire and brimstone place where one's being taken over by the other. But this is right in that cusp business. How would you do it? And this is the idea of let heaven and earth be the witness. And so he's the one, the child, he's the spirit. This is the one they're talking about, Ezra. He's not watching that's going on, and he's asked these questions. Well, how? Maybe because of all these inequities, maybe because the earth is so full of inequities, this is why that the righteous have been held up for so long, because of all these bad things. And he says, no, that's, how is it? No, he says, you just don't seem to understand. He says, go and ask a woman. Here, I'm just going to find you, because I'm just talking in the air. He says, go out and you find a woman that's having a child, that when that child, after 9 months, this is the idea that Hades is brought to mind here, and the earth is considered Hades. Okay, she cannot give birth but one person at a time, and all of our souls are captive. We've been given to earth. We have been given to this lower side. It's like a hostage of some kind, but while in her custody, when she's ready to give birth, she's ready, and she wants to give back. So it takes away that evilness. We make it evil, but this idea that earth can only pop out one person at a time. No, they can't. I guess you can have these 3 and 4 and 5 births, but this particular sequence of events in science is about birthing one person out of Hades at a time. And we can find that in the scripture in this particular part by going back here, and it says, when these things can come to pass, peradventure. Oh, where did she go? All right. Oh, maybe it's up higher here. High things we search is a promise righteous to come. Oh, here we go. For the world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities, and we cannot comprehend things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For the world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But as concerning the things thereof you ask me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet to come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that it's sown with good. It just means it ain't going to work unless you go through these particular ways. Okay? If therefore that which is not sown cannot be turned upside down, all of these things are sown past what we did first. They have to be turned down. They have to be turned around. This is how we get rid of that particular evil. We gather it as we go. So this says, ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed that brought forth. And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? How long shall we hope in this fashion? I'm reading a little further down in this. What's going on? It says the pre-adventure, the floors. So he answered, go, here we go. Number 40. It starts off at 40. So he answered me and said, go thy way to a woman with a child, and ask her when she hath fulfilled her 9 months, if her womb may keep the birth any longer within her. All right, so I kind of got that all mixed up. When it's ready to give birth, can she hold on to it? Can she keep it when she's ready to give birth? Then I said, no, Lord, that she cannot. And he said unto me, in the grave, the chambers of souls are like womb of a woman. And remember, in the grave is when you are born on earth. You are still without God. And so we just talked about, I will pull you out of your grave, just to pull you out of yourself. I'm going to pull you out of this body of yours, this grave. All right. So it says here, it says, in the grave, the chambers of souls are like the womb of a woman. For like as a woman that traveleth maketh haste to escape the necessaries of the travail, even so do these places haste to deliver those things that are committed unto them. So it's saying you that this place is ready to give up what was committed by them. They have to give up. They have to pop it out. Have to give birth to it. It says, and it goes like this. Then said I and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, and if it be possible, and if it be meet, therefore, show me then whether there be more to come than is past, or more come that is to come. For what is past I know, but what is for to come I do not know. And he said unto me, stand upright side of me, and I shall expound the similitude unto you. So I stood and saw, and behold, a hot burning oven passed by before me. And it happened that the flame was gone. And I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this, there passed by before me a watery cloud that sent down much rain with a storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. Then said unto me, consider with thyself. As the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops and the smoke remain behind. So the quantity which is past did more exceed. When I prayed and said, may I live, thinkest thou, until that time? Or what shall happen in those days? And he answered me, and he said, as for the tokens whereof that thou have asked of me, I may tell thee of them in part. But as touching thy life, I am not sent to show thee, for I do not know it. All right, so it's this go thy way of the woman. So go thy way of the woman. Where are we at? All right, so what did we get out of that? What did we get out of that? It's like here when people are like, the world, on the outside world, what we get is everyone is so evil and things like that. This is going to bring God down on us because we're so evil. We're so evil. And it's hey, take a break from that now. Okay? No reason for all the excitement. Go on by. There's nothing to see here. What does it happen to be? It sounds as if that when it's time for one of us to break out of this jail, to escape hell, it's like getting out of a mother's womb. And that womb is in earth and our lives up until the time that this happens to them, to the end of their day. They're considered as being trapped in that particular womb, waiting to give birth to you out of hell, out of hell. They're calling that the grave. This is Hades they're talking about. So I'm going to read more, but this is basically this chapter 4. And remember, it runs one right after another. Go and check it out. It's the coolest stuff on earth. All right? It's the coolest stuff. All right? And again, we get our witnesses out of this, heaven and earth, the first 2 parts on this, which are the first 2 beasts, the land and the sea. All right? Forgetting that in it, Sodom and Gomorrah, all right, is Moses and Aaron, okay, it's David and, it's Goliath and David would be backwards, right? David is the little guy. So, you guys, this is all it's talking about. This battle between the right and left sides of our brain until we bring them both together. That's sewing them together correctly, all right? Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thanks for joining me on this trip, all right? And I'll see you chapter 5. Should be talking about the vessel or something, something to do with 5. Maybe brethren come in, 5 is the body. 5 is going to, a lot of times 5 is going to recognize this tree that they keep talking about, It says, you guys, you think that wrath is so terrible. It says, what do I do for your transgressions? What am I doing for your blasphemies? What's the worst thing that I can do to you as your God when I get back at you for all this badness that you do? What's the worst thing? What's the worst thing? He just takes you and throws you in the water, and he turns the water sweet. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? That's all it does. All right, so you can think bad about it all you want. And you can tell me that I'm going to go to the devil for messing up God's words. Well, I said, you just go back and join the devil, okay? You never left there. And I can talk about you all I want, all right? Because I'm on the spiritual side of things, not on the physical. It's kind of cool. I traded in my skin for a white garment. That's what we're finding all out here. And the birth of me, this earth could not wait till I was done. I was kicking and screaming to get the hell out of this little place, And I thought I was in a closet, motherfucker, man. find out that I was put in one way long time ago. You know, called the grave. I've grown out of my grave. All right. It's very interesting. Chat with you soon, you guys. Best to you.